Hello everyone, today I'll be showing you the best way to raise a Digimon in Net Divers using as little resources as possible to help out these new players. So you're going to be able to use this method to start playing and testing out Digimon Net Divers without wasting your precious meats. That's going to be a very hard resource to get early on. When you start playing the game more, you're going to accumulate way more resources so that you'll never have to do this again. But this kind of method is very useful when you're first starting out in this game. And I'll also be telling you the mechanics involved in raising, as well as some extra tips to get some additional resources you might not know. Alright, so first off, we have here our Bodemon. We're going to give it a little pat here. It's going to raise up the bond, so it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's nice that you can do this. And we're just going to chill out and pick up our poop until this time remaining over here, which is the time left until we digivolve, is 2 minutes or less. And I'll be explaining to you why when that time comes. So we're just going to be waiting around here, chilling, until, waiting for this poop bar to fill up. When this poop bar fills up, a big screen and a sound effect is going to pop up for us to know. So I recommend you use another screen or watch something for 7 or so minutes while this Bodemon is just going to grow up. You can check your messages and say hello with a friend, but just stick around picking up this poop, because this poop here will be pretty important to what we're going to be trying to do. Alright, so I'm going to fast forward here to let you guys go all the way to see what happens when we have 2 minutes left. Alrighty, and we're back with 2 minutes left in our Bodemon's life. So what we're going to do here is we're going to enter the training menu, and then we're going to see these 3 stats. We're going to want to focus on HP, because our goal is to get a Kakuamon. You can get either a Kakuamon or an Agumon from Bodemon when you first start out. And I highly recommend going for a Kakuamon, because it'll be a lot more effective for what we want to farm. You can do an Agumon too if you want, but you might have a little bit more difficulty. So we're going to hit the HP button, and we're going to try to hit this white symbol. This white up arrow will appear anytime you're training below 40% hunger. So make sure when you do your training anytime in the game, you do it when you're below 40% hunger. Okay, and don't worry if you don't hit it every time. It'll take some getting used to, but eventually you'll be able to hit it every single time. So we're just going to train up our Digimon at 0 hunger into HP. And you notice we've got a care mistake. I'll explain that after I complete this training, because I do need to focus a bit here. I need to lock in. Oh, you see I hit the down arrow button? You do not want to do that. You do not get any training progress, and your Digimon hits you a little bit when you do that. So try to avoid being a scrub like me and having that happen. So here we got 100% fatigue. That means our Digimon's all tuckered out. But in this form, we can actually squeeze a little bit more training in. So I'm going to start putting in some training into speed. And we're going to train until we see this Digimon Bodemon become like this, because that means it's gotten hurt. So we're going to train one more time, and now we got the 3rd hurt mistake. We got the sickness icon, and we're almost about to digivolve. So right before we digivolve, I'm going to feed it 1 poop, and this poop is important because normally your Digimon cannot survive at 0 hunger, but when you first start out, there's a little bit of hidden hunger that it gets filled in, so it can drain a little bit without it dying. Normally though, if you drain your hunger when you're at 0, your Digimon will get hurt and die. So we digivolved into a Koromon here, and you notice that it got, well, no problem, our fatigue got reset. Our bond did tank a bit because we had those care mistakes, but those are gone now. And then we are at 36% training done, which is pretty good actually for a new player. This can be a little bit more because I messed up on that red arrow, but it's not going to be the end of the world for this training. So we're going to do what we did like the first time. We're going to come back when there's about 2 minutes left, and I'm going to show you guys the next step in this training. Okay, see you guys then. Okay, and we're back. And you might notice that our screen this time is a little bit different. So this is the resting menu. So when you're in this menu, it's the same as closing the game. And in this mode, your poop will build up a little bit slower, and your hunger will go down a lot slower. And this is also the only way for you to regain your fatigue to get more trainings. So this is how you can, this is recommended for you to use when you're in later on part of the game. You just fill up your fatigue and then you feed a Digimon, then you just put it to rest. It takes 4 hours for you to go from 100% fatigue to 0% fatigue. So you can just play the game kind of on that schedule. And you can enter this mode by either, it's the same as closing the game, but you can also just press this button right here and you can enter this mode and you can exit out anytime. There's really no penalty to it. And let's check how much time we have left. Okay, great. We have 2 minutes left exactly. So we're going to do the same thing we did last time. We're going to train up our HP a bit, and then we're going to mix in a little bit of speed. And this time I'm going to try to hit as many white arrows as possible, just like last time. And we want to make sure that we get our HP as the dominant stat in order to get a Kukuamon. Alright, so we got to 90% here. I just want to show you guys something that you can do with your Koromon. This is completely optional and you're going to be missing out a little bit of training stats by this, but you can get some free items this way, so I recommend you do it early on. So if you do the surf, you might notice that you get a message. So sometimes you'll get a bad hacker and then they'll make your Koromon sick, which is not great, but you can also get this message, which is the good message, and you get a free medicine out of it, which is very helpful because medicines are very expensive and you don't really want to be using them on babies at the moment. So you really want to save them for when you have invested a lot into a Digimon. So we're going to continue off over here. We're going to train here a little bit more to speed. So right here we got sick. So we're going to go to the shop and we're going to talk to the shopkeeper right here, and they're going to give us a bandage. And sometimes your shop won't always be open, and that's just due to the shop schedule of the game. I can make a video about that later on, but we're just going to continue training a little bit more and see. Oh, so our care mistake went up, so that means we got a sickness now, and we can do the same thing. We go to shop and then we're going to get a medicine when we talk to it. And now we're just about to evolve, and then we're going to feed it as much poop as possible. So you really want to pick up some poop, so you want to leave the game on right away without going to sleep, so yeah, you can get enough poop to feed your Digimon up to 100% at this stage. It'll be pretty useful. So we're going to go into our rookie stage with 68% training done. Ideally you want it to be 100, but your Digimon is not going to be that much weaker if it's at 68%. We can make that up later on. So we got our first rookie. This is Kukuamon, and we got a nice message from Fran. So it's going to tell us that we got our Digimon driver when we got into a Kukuamon. And you get this every single time you digivolve into a Digimon. So by looping this route, you can farm up a bunch of Kukuamons, and I wouldn't recommend you use them right away. What I would recommend is that you do this a couple of times, you save up this, and then when you go into battling, you equip all 5 of them at once, so you can have a really good strong build to get a couple of wins. So we're at this Kukuamon, we're at 24%, and we're going to have 20 hours left to play with. So it's plenty of time to play with this Digimon, but for this route specifically, we're going to have this Kukuamon will not live for very long, and I'm going to show you why. So we're going to do some training, and now we can kind of train whatever we want now. I'm just going to throw some random stats. So you notice how the white arrows are not appearing because we are above 40% hunger. And you might ask, oh, why didn't we just train until we feed it until we have less? Because we still want to make use of this remaining 50 hunger. So even though we didn't get the optimal training, now what we can do is we can search the web, and then hopefully we get some useful messages. So these yellow messages here are tips, so we don't really need to care about them that much. And then right here we got a drop, we got a carrot. This is very useful for us, and this is kind of why we want to start doing these surfings. And you want to save up a bunch of those so that we can grow a really strong Digimon. And then the third thing that happens here is a Digimon fight. Our Digimon is very weak right now, so there's a very high chance we lose, but this is why we want to go into Kukuamon, because we have the type advantage. We have better hit rate, and we also do a little bit more damage, and we take a little bit less damage from this Agumon. But it still looks like we're gonna lose, but we're not gonna, it's not a big loss, but our Digimon did get hurt. And we, at this point, basically this Digimon's life is basically over. But sometimes you'll be able to win, and then you can continue surfing. If you have any bits at this moment, I recommend you do not surf, and instead here's what you should do. This is, so we have 10 meat here, we have 1 carrot, and we can trick the game into giving us a little bit of extra rations by going onto the shop, and I'm gonna list all 10 of my meat for a ridiculous price so that no one buys it. And basically what this does is it gets rid of it in our inventory. Oh, I'm not sure if I actually want to list it for that much. Let me see if I can list a little bit more. 500, for 10. Okay, we listed 10 for 500. People shouldn't really be buying that. If they do, we're making a big profit off of it, so it's not a big deal. But we're going to do the same thing for here. We're going to list it for a large amount so that people don't buy it. And so what happens here is that the game is going to see that we have no food available for us, and we have no bits. So make sure when you do this, you don't have either of those, or else it won't work. And then now when you kill off our Digimon by continuing to surf the web, it's going to get into another fight, and this time it's going to be very, very weak because it's hurt. So after this loss, our Digimon is going to be sick. And at this point, you really don't want to surf anymore, because the instigator will come, and I'm going to show you what that means. So if we search out for instigator,
get ready.
So this is the instigator. This is kind of the penalty mechanic of this game, and this guy is super strong, and when he beats you, he's actually going to make you lose some of your bits. Since I'm poor as heck, I really don't have much to lose, so I don't really lose much out of it. But if you have any amount of bits, he'll take a percentage of that, and this could be a pretty big deal. And he'll show up anytime you try surfing with your Digimon while it's sick, or if you have any of these care mistakes. So be very careful that doesn't happen to you. So we're just going to keep on doing this until our Digimon dies. Oh, we sold. That's not the best actually, because I didn't want it to sell. So as you see, we lost some of our bits, and what sold was our carrot. So we no longer have that carrot, which is kind of sad, but maybe I can buy something useful here. So normally the shop will have a lot more items, but since right now I'm playing quite late in my time zone, it's not going to have anything great to buy, so I'm just going to buy 5 meat, and I am going to put those back on the shop as well. So I'm going to list all 5 of mine for a crazy price, and hopefully, unlike the carrots I had, they're not going to sell. So now my Digimon will die, and hopefully, even though I have 7 bits, the game will see that I don't have enough, and I can get some free rations. Let's see. Awesome. So here we got 8 rations, and this is basically the same thing as a food. So now we can take off our meat from the storage. And here, so now we can start off a brand new run with 50 meat available for us. A little bit less because sometimes you won't be able to sell the carrot like I did, but you also have 8 more rations here. So what I recommend you do here is to do the same thing as the first time, except you won't be able to get the medicine and bandage from getting showing the shopkeeper your sick Koromon, because that can only happen once. You get to 55%, you are safe to beat all of the Digimons on surfing. So that means you can just keep on surfing for the rest of your life and rack up a bunch of materials. And then using those materials, you'll be able to get a run where you can train to 100% and then do some PvPs and try to get your Digimon to Digivolve into something that is not a new Digimon. But I'm going to go into that for a future video. For now, I've shown you how to get a Digimon trained, and anytime that you don't have any food and bits in your inventory, less than 100 bits I believe, you'll be able to get these new rations. You can't keep on stacking these rations, because if you have rations in your inventory, you won't be able to get new ones, and you can't sell these, so you might as well use them.